Welcome to the Astroflower channel. This is we're going to be clarifying the readings that I did at the weekend, and Tanya and my good self are going to be going through about how the elements are being affected by the solar activity and the vibration that comes through the earth and comes through you, so it affects you and affects all the elements that's running through your sign. So this is going to be a heads up, a bit of a clarification on that weekly readings. So in the meantime, welcome Tanya. This is the first time you've been on a video with me.
It is indeed. But it's nice to be out the front and not doing all the back end work and getting involved. With the activity in the sun over the last week and an X-flare last night, I can't really stay behind closed doors forever.
No, it is great, and we should do quite a few. We've done quite a few videos on Cymatic TV with talking about near-death experiences and the aura and chakras and that sort of thing, and reincarnation. People should go and check them out. They're timeless videos. But it's good. It's good to have you back. It's great. I feel less lonely in my little.
Can't let you wander that path alone.
No, exactly. So let's just take the people through what's been going on. Let me just sort my screen share out. So this is like the sun that's been happening. It only goes back to the 29th, but there was loads of M flares coming through, especially through that sort of section there where we just saw the X flare there. And we had a little coronal holes. These are the little coronal holes here, but they're waning out as we're getting now into what I would call solar maximum. Solar maximum lasts anything between sort of 18 months to 2.5 years, but it's that curve as it gradually goes over the top like that, and then we have the intermediate sort of stages, which is to do with filament energies, and then we get into the low, which is around about 18 months, 2.5 years, where it's completely different energy, and we go through the entire cycle, which lasts around about sort of 10-11 years. Now you had something interesting about, because we were talking about health issues on the energy update, which I did in Cymatic TV, and I was talking a little bit about the heart and stuff like that. Tell them your sort of
when you introduced me to the idea through your healing about the solar flares affecting the heart, I looked back to 2012. I had a full investigation done of my heart because my heart started becoming very agitated for no particular reason, and it was fully investigated, and the doctors couldn't find anything. And since this very recent solar activity, the heart's doing the same thing again. And so just looking at the correlation between those two time periods, it now makes complete sense to me what you were saying. So, I woke up in the middle of the night when this was all kicking off and the geomagnetic storm came through, and my heart was racing all over the place. So it's very clear to me. I feel the coronal holes. I feel the M flares. This consistent energy puts you in I'm an air sign, so pure air. It does seem I seem to be very sensitive to the flares coming through. But just knowing that is great, because you can understand and accept it when you know what's going on. So this is great information to have.
Yeah. No, we've it's like it'd be interesting to sort of see, if there is like years where there's more heart attacks than others.
I think didn't Ben on Suspicious Observers look at the medical incidences of heart and also with mental health? I think over a few of his videos, he's mentioned that there, and I think there are papers proving that. So on the mental health front as well, people feeling more agitated, and as you said, a bit of extreme swinging. But as the flares are coming through, it tends to throw sensitive people into a bit more of an up down roller coaster kind of scenario.
And that's all to do with the air and fire that's running through everybody's system. You can be a water sign, but you can have lots of air, fire going through it, such as Pisces.
Yeah.
which makes Pisces incredibly passionate about what they do and emotionally passionate about what they do.
Oh, yes.
And you can see that in the Astroflower. We'll be going through that a little bit later on. Yeah, it's definitely, you know, there's already major studies on solar flares and their effect on heart attack rates, also mental health issues, as you said, but also sort of gut and digestive systems, because it's playing on the solar plexus a lot more. So people who are a little bit more susceptible to that may feel that they're getting, you know, their digestive tract is not, it's not flowing as easy as it should be.
Well, you picked that up on the energy update as well, didn't you, with the solar plexus, with the energy coming through, and that again rippled through the earthquakes that we've observed coming through over the last week as well. Have you got some?
Yeah, let's just go through. Let's just go through the. So this is what that X flare is just coming off here. So this is what's called Iswa. This shows here in the middle the sun. This round yellow dot here is the. Let me just is the Earth. This red dot here is Mars, and this green dot here is Venus, and this is Mercury, sort of swinging out round the back of us. So we are actually just coming through a conjunction of the Earth and Mercury as well. So as the sun does push out this energy, if you imagine you've got well, you don't have to imagine, you've got the sun here, Mercury's coming through as it's pushing it out. If you imagine the messages that from Mercury is being enforced by the sun. So it's, I would say it's not necessarily a message, but more of an order. Do this, rather than maybe you should be looking at doing this, and have you thought about this? Which is a little bit different. Yeah, so you have to wait till Mercury comes round where Venus is, really, to get into that flow. So you get those more direct sort of conversations with the universe. At the moment,
what does that affect on Venus? Because that's clearly hitting Venus as it's coming through to Earth. What effect is that having? You know, Venus being the love planet.
Yeah, well, it's going to affect the water. It's going to cut the water. It's going to cut the emotional sort of side, make the emotions a little bit thinner. So, you know, if you've got, say, like a litre of water in a saucepan, it's going to take time to boil up. But if you've only got like 100 centilitres or whatever it is, millilitres or whatever, in the bottom of the pan, it's gonna boil very quickly. So that's the thing you've got to, you know, that's the sort of situation we're in, where it's reducing the amount of water effect in the elements. So the water that is left is going to be heated very quickly by the air and fire connection which the X flares or the general flares send in our sort of direction. Over the past 2 years, it's been very much a mixed bag. And you can see that in the world, it's been a mixed bag. You know,
it's quite fortunate Mars hasn't been within range, I would assume, with the current situation, war situation that the world is observing. If Mars was involved, would this flare have impacted that and reinforced that?
Well, it depends how, you know, if say Mars was behind us, it would force the aggression or warmongering sort of thing more upon us. If Mars was in the position of Venus, it would cut out that bit. But when it does come back into flow, so it may calm down and then do a bit of a Will Smith, basically.
Okay.
You know, yeah, do a bit of a Will Smith. But the good thing about what we got at the moment here, and this is okay, so the effect of Mars, so if you imagine we're still in that flow of Mars as it comes through here, we're still in its sort of cone, as it were. So it's flowing onto us, but it is going through Venus as well. So therefore, it's going to make, it would make, say, like, people do get passionate about certain wars that are going on. But there's not a lot of concrete understanding and view of it, really. It's a bit sort of muddied water in a way, because Venus is in the way. But with this flare knocking out Venus, it may increase over the next week, which I said on the energy update that it may make everybody a little bit more angsty because Venus, Mars is that fiery planet, and the X flare is fiery energy, so it's going to be double whammy, as it were. So you may see a spike in the next week, in this coming weekend, of angsty. Is that the word? I don't think it is.
Just angst.
Yeah, but that can also be on the larger scale, as it were. On the.
So how has this affected the world chakras and coming through? You did the energy update last night and took the energy from the line. So how did that feed through to where the X flare and M flares have been hitting? How is it related to the world?
Well, yesterday was absolutely brilliant going down the lines. It's the first time I've felt the sequence to be literally, really sharp and clear. And it's the first time I felt that in quite a few years. And I think that's because we've been through that intermediate stage between low cycle and high cycle of the sun. It's all a bit mixed bag, as I sort of say, which makes the energy a little bit mixed bag for a couple of years on the planet. And I was sort of saying that with the X flares, it's putting a lot of pressure on the solar plexus. And because it puts a lot of pressure on the solar plexus and makes that, the thinking's going to be quite heavy, but the throat, which is to do with water a little bit, is going to be reduced. So it might be a little bit, so you're moving from the fiery solar plexus, go straight into the head, which makes that sort of angst sensation, the sensation of anxiety coming up through people. And it puts a lot of pressure on the communication as well between people. So you might find it, for particular signs, they might find it difficult to express how they feel about sort of situations. And the Earth signs, the Earth energy has been really sort of like compacting a lot more for Earth signs. So it was playing on I was sort of saying in the energy update, it's been playing on the third eye and the throat and the solar plexus. And the funny thing is when you look at the earthquakes over the last week, no, that's one that's going on. Yeah, that's last night. That's what's going on at the moment. And I was saying that it was hitting the root and the solar plexus, and we got a big earthquake in the solar plexus. Let me just find out where there's the earthquakes over the week. And if you go back to there, you got the throat and third eye chakra at the moment, and there you got the solar plexus, and all of the earthquakes really are playing on that part of the world, between those two chakras on the ring of fire, as it were. There's been a little bit on the root chakra, and I was sort of saying that it's having difficulty. I was saying to you earlier about how it's difficult to get from the root to the sacrum, and that seems to be blocking in the Caribbean, where it comes from the root, and it seems to be blocking in the Caribbean and not allowing it up to the sacrum, which is up in Mount Shasta.
So what effect does that have on people, not being able to express their wants and needs, or what? How does that flow through?
Well, you could have an idea that you need to do this on your karmic path. I need to be doing this. This is what the root thing is a little bit about. Because the root and the crown chakra is your vertical energy. It's your reason d'etre, which will go into the Astroflower books quite a bit about, and how positioning yourself and how the vertical energy is your reason d'etre in the world, your reason of being here, your karmic path in a way. And that may affect that sort of running through of basic understanding of where you should be in your life and on this planet. And people may feel that at the moment. They may feel that they're a little bit sort of disconnected to what they're actually doing, and or finding it a little bit more difficult to see the actual
questioning their purpose a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, questioning their purpose a little bit. Because there hasn't been a great deal on the crown, although there was.
Well, last night they came through a couple, India and Pakistan.
Yeah, the crown's there, and and that's. And I was saying, sort of like, if you get a lot in the root, you're gonna get a ripple effect into the crown on the earthquakes and stuff like that, because it's on. They're on exactly the same lines. That's the thing, because they are the same chakra. And so the
you were
crossing
saying something
point
about the impact of the flares in the two triangle areas. It's quite useful on that map to see where those, like the Bermuda Triangle and the Dragon Triangle, and how that was.
Okay, so if you look at what's the angst sort of chakras, which is the solar plexus, which is down here in Australia, and then you've got the root and the third eye up at the top there. If you look at the configuration with the blue and the green line and the pink and the yellow, and you follow it over to the other side, you get the. Oh no, it's going to be on that side there, isn't it? It's going to be on that one there. But it has been affecting. It is affecting.
That's where the flare hit, didn't it? Yeah. The flare hit over on that area.
On that side there. So it is going to be playing into the bit on the. And blocking that thing. I think this is because this section here is pushing out onto this section here, and it's stopping that connection between those two, which are connected through that red line there. And it's blocking in the sort of like Caribbean there, in that section there. But it does. Here you've got the Dragon Triangle, and here you've got the Bermuda Triangle on the other side, and then. Let me get it onto the actual vortex maps. That'll be a lot easier to see, I think. So here you've got the Bermuda Triangle, and here you've got the Dragon Triangle, and they're flowing the both ways, the same way. Here it's flowing in the other way, stuff like that. But this is coming out in another book. I'm not going to take it too far.
Don't go down that rabbit hole.
So yeah, so it's been. Affecting quite a bit the different sort of chakras and stuff like that, but it's mainly the solar plexus and the third eye and the throat. The third eye is really, really clean, really clean.
So how is this going to translate into the Astroflower? How are we going to understand the implications as it comes through?
Hello Aries, and welcome to the second part of your clarification reading, and we're going to be going through your elements and your qualities and see what's happening with your cards and see how that influenced by the sun and the energy updates that's been on Cymatic TV. If you've been over there, if you haven't been over there, there's loads of links in the description below. Don't forget. After you've subscribed and clicked the bell here and seen this, you might want to go over to see Cymatic TV, subscribe and click the bell over there as well. So Tanya, what do you think, Aries? We're in Aries season, so happy birthday to any Aries out there.
Yeah, I mean Aries season and M's and X flares. So first of all, what sort of impact is that going to have on the pure fire signs?
This is this whole sort of accountability that I was talking about in the energy updates. And it seems like it goes across the board at the moment, and this is individually but also collectively. And you were talking about how Boris Johnson has now got to face the accountability of his acts of what happened, he did.
And the world is holding Putin accountable to what's going on over that side of the world. So yes, people are starting to not only ask questions but demand answers. So it is that time. So for Aries,
it's like that, isn't it? They're very good accountants and stuff like that. So
and they're quite a caring and sort of collectively oriented. They want people to be safe and secure. So they're not going to be happy with all this instability in the world. I don't think so. Maybe that is the time to set things straight and those questions to be answered.
I think that leading up to this Aries season has been good for them in the way that it's helped them to concentrate on themselves rather than the outside world, which is good. And now the outside world is being taken to accountability. The Aries as well can move on because the world is being taken, it's taking itself to accountability and stuff like that.
They're going to be coming with a certain amount of force, looking at the amount of fire running through from their base as well. So looking at the cards, the justice cards just jumping out again. This is part of the accountability. They'll want justice seen within the world. They want things to be fair. They want things to be stable. So that fire coming up from the base is and boundary set. It's quite a classic Aries sort of reading, isn't it? Having that petal one as well.
Yeah, with the cardinal Earth and the fire, and the fires that's been affected by the solar flares, is obviously going to make that Earth very solid and solid and concrete, and the water's going to be diminished, so it's going to be playing a lot more on the fires, and that they've got that fire, water, and the cardinal fire that's coming up through their lover's petal, which is really good. So it's passionate about their life. They're falling in, as your birthday comes around, you should fall in love with your life, of what you do. And I think this is what it's all about, and staying just to yourself and having that fixed water, being very clear and just. And it's quite understandable that they get the Two of Swords in the mutable section there, because it's all about decisions, and mutable can go either way,
It's about balance, isn't it? It's striving for that stability and for balance. So coming out both in there. So decisions having to be weighed, and that moves continuing through petal 6 as well, with the sitting then and knowing which way to go, and knowing across those boundaries to work towards, which straight up to petal 10. It's a very clear reading, really. But do you want to look at the material side, or do you want to look at the
we're going to the material side. I was going to say, you've got the Emperor sitting there, which is there a bit like in its solar plexus in a way, which is really quite good for them.
Standing in their power, that's giving them all the determination and force forwards, isn't it?
That is that crossing point there, where you got hardened earth and diminished water, may create that tower moment where they are being clear and standing in their power about what they should be doing. And that's been encouraged by that air and fire combination on the outside there, which comes in this section here. As this section here has got that earth and water, it may create that tower moment.
It might be a tower moment for someone else, for the external world. They might be pushing that out, because that's sitting in the throat. They're actually expressing it. That force is coming out and expressing it out. So it could be creating a tower moment around them, maybe on that material side in their physical world.
It could be a good way of cutting out dead wood, from their life. That's what the Emperor will be doing. He'll be sitting in judgment, like justice, as it flows through, sits in that justice, and then therefore they can cut out the dead wood. And it may be a bit of a tower moment. It doesn't necessarily have to be a bad moment at all, really, a tower moment. It just means clearing out the old and allowing space for the new, in a way. Getting rid of the old tower that doesn't serve us anymore. And, when you do that, then they realise they actually got a lot of resources around them in the physical side of life, with material and stuff like that. And with that accountability in place within that solar energy at the moment, and the message was, don't bite off more than you can chew. And I think this is where Aries are really good at being able to sort of judge a situation and put it into to measure its sort of situation, which would be really good. And on the emotional sort of side, obviously the physical boundaries, and you've got the cardinal earth and the cardinal fire there with the 9 of Wands. That's really good. That works really well, about being passionate about your limits of what you can have with the other people. It's a Knight of Swords. Not I thought it was a 7 of Swords.
moving at speed. Yeah, I said it's the night. Something's coming in at speed or moving towards something at speed. And then you've got the Ace of Swords as well in the in the third eye chakra. So there's something very, very clear coming out, a very clear vision of something, and it's something inspirational which can be moved towards.
Look at that. You've got cardinal fire and mutable air. So this section here is going to be blistering. So it is going to be like that call to action and that mental sort of kind of going, look how life could be. And this could be, it might be a bit of a leap of faith, actually, that whole sort of Two of Swords sort of thing, because they do make that leap of faith eventually, Aries, but they do like to procrastinate a little bit sometimes and worry about what, you know, we were saying this earlier on about sort of Pisces, Aries and Taurus have that, they're so caring about the world, you know, they can have that moment of worry and sort of, worry about the world around them. As you were saying earlier on, though, you know, worrying about the external world and what's going on. And that could be pulling them to action and to be really clear with their relationships and stuff like that. And this solar activity is just heightening that whole sort of thing. So
it looks like things are moving in, you know, I don't think it's going to be a quiet time for the Aries. It looks like there's a lot going on, and for them an opportunity really to stride towards that Ten of Pentacles. But they've got to be clear cut and set their boundaries and stand in their power to take it through.
Excellent. Yeah.
Have you got a final word, final message for?
I think you summed it up beautifully. Yeah, totally. So, you know, just for all our Aries friends out there, you should be subscribing. Subscribing. Don't forget, we do loads of things over on Instagram. We're
going to be obviously Aries season. You can get the Aries book, the Astroflower book, if you are interested in all this and want to learn more how the flower is created, constructed, how it all fits together. Step in and take advantage, empower yourself through this concept.
Yeah, we got free readings as well, free healing sessions as well, doing competitions. Get over to Instagram, links in the description below. You'll understand how you can join in the competitions. We've got a great community growing gradually, meeting some lovely people on Instagram, and it's good to actually meet people and doing sessions with them.
Join in and have some fun with it.
Yeah, exactly. So in the meantime, Aries, don't forget, life should be fun, so please do enjoy. So, hello Cancer, this is going to be a reading or a clarification on the weekly readings, which should be linked somewhere below, somewhere around. If you're subscribed to this channel, you probably would have seen it. If you're not, why not? You should be. Hey, you'll get more content like this free of charge on YouTube. We do loads of stuff on Instagram as well, and stuff like that. But let's just get into how the sun is affecting your elements and your qualities in your sign, and let's just see what the how it influences the cards of the weekly reading, basically. So I think first thing to know is that fire, earth, fire, earth, fire, earth that runs all the way through their physical sort of side. It's almost like a second flower within a flower, if you know what I mean. It's very very interesting, but unlike the pure signs of Aries and Libra, you don't get any of their prime element in the center of their flower. And Capricorn as Cancer are both full signs, like Gemini and Sagittarius. We get these four mixing sections as we go round. Like you've got the pure signs, you got the full signs, and then you got the standard signs, which tend to be the sort of fix that go between the two fulls. It's an intricately beautiful geometric sort of system. It's a lovely thing. So yeah, that's that fire and earth, I think, that's going to be affecting those sort of things and making this section here a lot more concrete. and it's going to flow out of that with that earth and fire there, leading into the two of Pentacles. So with that bit in the middle there, because you've got another thing about Cancer as well, which is that fixed fire that goes around there like that all the way through there. So it makes sort of another little flower, as it were. And you've got the Ace of Wands in the centre of them,
sitting at the in the sacrum chakra, because obviously that would be a fire, an initiating of a want or desire. It's what seems very central to the reading, with that fire excited by the flares that has just come through.
And it's going to be flowing through. Look at that, the Queen of Cups, Lovers, the Three of Cups, and then this is the thing they had in combination with Capricorn as well. Their Capricorn had the Five of Wands as well, and I think in the same position, and they're opposite signs and stuff like that. But it could be that is that mental side, because that's the only petal there, one petal one, where they've got earth and air. So it's going to be the air element that's going to play a lot more on that. So maybe it's more of a word of warning of not to get involved in competition or conflicts, basically. I think maybe the universe is there using your mental agility.
Cats can feel very strong, can't they? In family situations particularly, they can stand their ground, and that's coming from the root chakra area. So it's probably something quite primal to them, where they want to stand their ground with something. So the universe is just making them aware of potential conflict and seek to keep control of those emotions.
Yeah. And that that other part of air which I've got there is mutable air that runs through there, which flows beautifully for the Knight of Wands, that childlike,
The Page of Wands.
Page of Wands, sorry, yeah, Page of Wands. That childlike sort of like fiery, beautiful energy, and it comes from an Ace of Wands as well, And what we were saying about them on that side there, it was about
walking away from something from the past. Look like looking at the work-life balance, and maybe learning from the past and knowing when to walk away from something, because again they've got the Ace of Swords, like Aries had the Ace of Swords as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
So something inspiration again. There's an idea coming in from the material world, from the universe. There's something there for them, but it might require them to be walking away from something from the past or an old way of doing things to get the balance right.
Look what they've got between the two, between the Eight of Cups and the Two of Pentacles. You've got that fixed earth, so that's going to be even more fixed.
Yeah.
And that fixed earth then goes down around the Six of Cups. So it's almost sort of saying you've got to walk away from something in the past so you can concentrate on things in the future, maybe. Or Again,
that's coming from the root, isn't it? It's coming from the root chakra. So that something that was embedded in the past that may be holding them back, something that's been there for a long time. So maybe that's the message from the universe on both sides, to be able to let that go and walk away, so they can pursue that Ace of Wands and approach it with a childlike enthusiasm, because they've let go of whatever that was from their, could have been based back in their childhood, but it can release them to take that step forward.
There is another way of also cutting it, because this is it. This is the thing about reading the Astroflower. It's got so many different layers that you can come at the same thing from so many different ways, so you can actually understand the thing that needs to be done with the situation a lot easier, because we come at it from different angles. So if we come at it from an angle from the rhythm side of view, this is their first month of their autumn, so it's moving into that period. In the last 2 months of their autumn is 2 months, 2 periods, so it's Gemini and Taurus season. It's that sort of looking what you've been doing over the last year and what you want to be doing in the coming year, and that whole sort of walking away from past things is sort of creeping into them and asking them, and that's that fixed earth as well, with new ideas coming in about what you want to do in the future. So it is sort of helping that it is gradually, for some of them, you know, they're going to be gradually moving into that. The more we go through the Aries season, more people will be falling into that physical side of life, of looking at what they've done physically in the world and what they want to be doing in the coming future. And it's all about that Ace of Wands in the middle. So it's teeing it up nicely, I think, at the moment.
I think exciting time ahead. If they can clear that dead wood out or walk away from whatever's holding them back, then, you know, they've got all that energy coming through, especially boosted by this solar activity, to really take these steps forward.
All water signs have had an amazing explosion of development. I've seen it in Scorpio. I've certainly seen it in Pisces, and it seems to be now the clock seems to be coming round to Cancer. So it seems like Cancer is going to go into a very productive time of sorting stuff out. So then, as they move forward in the future after their birthday, I'm really quite encouraged by Cancer's future. You know, it's going to be work over the next sort of 2-3 months. But then, you know, without work, you can't have the play, and without play, you can't have the work. It's a yin-yang situation. And I think if they, you know, they buckle down and start looking after themselves and their immediate surroundings, which they're so good at anyway, you know, they'll come. They're looking like a really bright future for them, I think, really. You know.
Right.
So. Yeah, so there you go, Cancer. I hope you did enjoy that. Then don't forget to subscribe and click that bell before you go off anywhere. And if you want all of those sort of free readings, please go down into the links below. And like your Page of Swords right up in your petal 10, don't forget, life should be fun, so please do enjoy. So, Libra, Libra, Libra. Right in the middle of this is your summer starting. Oh, that's so, Libra, sorry. Libra, welcome back, Libra. So you've had your, that was the intro. You saw all about the sort of the sun and how it's been affecting the different elements and different chakras and stuff like that. This is your reading of what happened as I did at the weekend for this week. And this is basically, we're going to be going through talking about the elements and qualities and probably chakras and stuff like that, of how it's actually affecting the cards that we pulled at the weekend, and see how that sort of adapts for your ongoing week, as it were. So, solar flares, I've got to turn to you because obviously you're Libra.
I am.
You're Miss Libra.
Being supercharged and activated and heightened by these solar flares, it has been quite an excitable week, I guess. It's been very high energy. It's woken me up in the night as the flares have come through, and yeah, it's affected my heart on a health level. Definitely been feeling these solar flares. But you know, our sign is not only on the outside, we are air right the way through the whole of the base. So it's got to have quite an impact, I think, on the reading of the week. So can you, as you rightly said, you know, as a pure air sign, because Capricorn doesn't get this and Cancer doesn't get this, they don't get their elements within them. And you guys do, like you do, Aries does, and also Pisces does, and also Virgo does. And Libra does have that sort of air that's also in them as well. And as a pure air sign, you have a huge volume of air compared with most other people. Even more compared, so there's more fire in Gemini than there is air, and they are an air sign. And you have, you know, I say you because you are Libra, but you only have those 2 bits of fire there. Minimal.
Yeah, minimal. But there's a lot of mental activity going on. There's more earth than there is water. There's quite a lot of earth, really. So that is that practical side of Libra, who likes to get things done and likes to do things.
But I think the mental stimulation has been very, very clear, very over-analysing. You know, everything has been mentally driven, even more so than normal, you know, which for us Librans can get right in the way of all sorts of things. So, yeah, it's been, I've personally felt it quite strongly, and I'm sure the other air signs have also. But for us Librans particularly.
Hmm.
So how does it relate to the cards?
That's got to be the crossing point there that I was just indicating there. So you got the mutable.
It's caused a headache. The mental, it's moved up and it
literally it's imploded. Because if you look around you, the cards are not that bad. There's a little bit of
again, it's the overthinking on the emotional side.
Wait and see on the relationships and stuff like that.
Looking for answers, but looking for even unseen things with the moon up there as well. It's just been, mental looping and over analyzing and not coming up with answers very quickly. So it's been quite a trying week, I would say.
I think that on that side, on the material side, has been a lot more productive than the well, say productive. There is a lot to be said for the idea of being wise in what you're doing and how you invest your emotions in life, and what the choices you make depends on the journey that you will take going forward. And I was sort of saying in the weekly readings, if I remember rightly, that you can't see everything, and this is what's causing that mental, because you've got that crossing of fire. That fire, the only bit of fire on that both sides, is that section there crossing over between your heart and your plexus and your solar plexus and your third eye and your throat. So the conversion from the interior plan to the exterior plan, as it were, there's a definite thing of choices and change of fortune. So it seems like on the physical side, it seems like that change of fortune will make you feel a lot more secure, actually.
Yeah, I think that's had to be the focus, is to step into that more concrete side, because the mental side is just, on an emotional level, it creates the headache. So it's a natural movement, I guess, towards the more concrete things that can be done to control things on the material side. So that Wheel of Fortune is being more dictated by that Emperor, who's expressing, and Librans do express themselves, forcibly at times, and that Emperor's been able to give them that voice, and from the throat chakra side to be able to express. So it's been more productive in the expression rather than the overthinking, I think.
What do you think on that one, on the Empress card there? Because it's got fixed Earth and fixed
High Priestess. It's High Priestess. So it's, that's the intuitive. And again, I think Librans do rely on their intuition in the absence, in the mental loop that goes round. They have to step into their intuitive side a little bit to help out. So
but it should be quite practical with that fixed.
It's on the physical side. It's on that side.
Yeah.
So, and a bit of patience. Again, we have more. It's more control on that material side. It's not emotional. It's easier. It's easier for us on that side.
Yeah, because on that side there is obviously you've got the cardinal water that sort of goes with the cardinal air, and both of the cardinals are going upwards like that. Whereas on this side here, you've got a circular motion like that. So that's where you get the Librans that change a lot, that like to do lots of different things, that are interested in by lots of things in life, certainly in the material world. So this could be anything from colouring photographs, doing acting or stuff like that. It's in a physical sense in the world, and it's that because it's that cardinal air that's playing a lot more, because it's been stimulated by the sun. It's bringing in that air of caution a little bit, which is creating that patience. I think within, and I think that's where the universe is trying to help you on the physical sort of side of life, sort of saying, make sure you're as the physical comes up, make sure it's solid and sound, and therefore you can apply your mental sort of side to it, and
which will allow an element of emotional security on the emotional side with that Four of Pentacles there. That will, by taking that command on the material side, it will give emotionally a little bit more stability and security, a feeling of security.
The other thing I want to say on this sort of side there, you've got the Seven of Cups and the Moon there, and you've got the, you've got the fire coming through and the air going across it. I think that's going to dry up that moon, because the moon is a really watery sort of element. And it's supposed to be things that are hidden from you. And it might be this week, it might help you to understand a lot about yourselves, about how, Librans tend to beat themselves up a lot. And it might dispel a lot of things, and make that choice even more evident. Because I say about the Seven of Cups that there's lots of choices there, but there's only one cup that's producing water. So there is only one evident path really for you to do. And sometimes with the possibilities, it can just get confusing to see which is the evident thing.
Especially with that Two of Swords, to give a Libran a choice of two is that's hard. Okay, which is why we're ending up with the headache, because it's very, very difficult to be faced with those choices, with potentially hidden things as well.
Yeah, and if you look at it running up through to the Emperor, you've got the Two of Wands going through the Four of Pentacles, that caution side of things, going through that Two of Swords. It's all sort of like that, and then it's asking you to sit in your power. But Librans could definitely turn this to their advantage and sort of saying, if I am actually cautious and know that I have those pentacles with me, the evident path will become evident, and I will be able to sit in my power. And that will make that Wheel of Fortune start really working for you in a very concrete way, because of that cut with that fixed fire that is linking the two,
So the opportunity is there. I think that's the message coming through, is the opportunity is there, is to not get caught up, allow your intuition to get that evident path presented, and then you can step into your power and potentially bypass the headache if you can just move into your power.
Well, certainly, if you realise it, maybe that person in the background there is you. If you stop getting in an argument with yourself, Capricorns don't tend to get in arguments with themselves, because they just kind of like sit there, just kind of go, oh, that's the way it is. You know what I mean? I'm immovable. But because Librans are air, and they're like a fairy in a way.
We can get buffeted around. We will get buffeted around. We don't have that earth to ground us.
Yeah, they've got that quickness of air and everything like that, and they can change direction, and they can create storms as much as they can cool you down on a hot summer's day. And sometimes that's that person maybe standing in the background. That the lesson for the Libran this week is to realise not to beat themselves up.
I'll take that.
Thank you. Well, that's pretty good. So there you go, Libra. Is there anything else you wanted to sort of add? I think
we've covered that. They probably had a longer reading than everybody else, because
yes, really, probably did. So there you go, Libra. Don't forget, once you've subscribed here and click the bell, there is also our sister channel, Cymatic TV, where we do a lot of those energy updates, messages from the earth, dowsing ley lines, and seeing what's going on in the chakras of the ley lines and the chakras of the earth, and the connection to the sun and stuff like that. We're also doing loads of stuff on Instagram. Get over there, follow us on there, so then you can enter in some of the competition for free readings, free healings, free books. There's loads of stuff going on over there. Come and join the party. Come and join the community, because we're getting to know each other really well over there. Making some nice friends. So if you've subscribed already, thank you very much for subscribing already. But if you haven't, subscribe and join the party. In the meantime, Libra, don't forget, life should be fun. So please do enjoy. Let's bring up Capricorn. Capricorn's always the last out of bed. It's terrible.
Why is that? That is the question.
I don't know.
Well, you can answer it, being our resident Capricorn.
So there you go, Capricorn. Welcome to your clarification on your readings that we're going to be doing according to your elements and your qualities. and also your chakras and stuff like that, and the effects that the sun is having upon you. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe now and click that bell, because then you can get all the notifications for all these lovely readings that we do, and it's exploration into the world and the universe and us and you and together, me and all of it. You know, so come join the party. In order to join the party, you just got to subscribe. You just got to click that thing. That's all you got to do. And not asking for any money. You could even get free readings and stuff like that if you go over to the Instagram, which is in the links below, along with loads of other stuff. So knock yourselves out. Here we go. So Capricorn, let's just do a bit of clarification on this. What's the first thing you get from it, of looking at the Capricorn flower, which is on the right-hand side here?
Well, according to the flares that have come through, we've got a lot of earth and water, which was affected in not a fast moving way. It's slowed the water down, it's consolidated the earth a little bit more, made it a little bit more concrete and slower. So it's affected the surface of the Capricorn straight away. But also looking at the flower, there's a lot of air on the inside, okay, and fire. So that's going to be agitated. There's going to be a lot going on the inside that maybe Capricorn's wishing to put out to the world and vocalize and stand in their mental strength. That would be the first thing I would pick up.
Yeah, I think that's been very much the case. You know, on these three petals here, on the 2, 3, and 4, it's a mixture of air and water. Now the water's obviously been thinned out a little bit, so
air is dominated.
Air is dominating. So basically, the head seems to be dominating the emotions at the moment, dominating the body in Capricorn. And you might have felt that at the beginning of the week more than anything else, I think. Being a Capricorn myself and going through it myself, we're all going through it together. You know, we're all on the same boat, which need to start rowing in the same direction, I think. I think that mental side has really made us look at things in a very practical way, because we do have that fixed elements on the material side of life, which is that, you know, the air and water is very emotional, really, in a way, much a quicker emotion, let's put it that way, you know, because fire is also very emotional. And I would say earth is emotional as well, but they're all within their own sense in a way. But it seems to be playing in, and it's got that fixed air that goes round, comes down there, and goes round the lovers and comes down there. So they really want life to be in a particular way, and because they want it in a particular way within their heads, it may not be what the rest of the world wants, and so it might have caused them a bit of angst, a bit of complications, maybe. I wouldn't say fighting, I would say more sort of differences of opinion, maybe, that they've got to be careful of.
Could have caused us a bit of steamed up argument when petal 1 there with the fire and the water anyway. So that conflict on that, I think it's a bit of a heads up from the universe of potential conflict if that water boils too violently. Because
also you got that repeating just above it there, with that crossing of the water and the fire there and the mutable there. Yeah. And that comes through there. It comes through that whole sort of that section there is really
2 wands as well. So you've got fire, both the that's the knight, isn't it? And you've got the Emperor, which is a fire card. I think it represents Aries, so it's more fire coming in there as well.
Yeah, I'd say very Taurus or Leo, really, Emperor. You know, fire and earth.
So what do you think the Seven of Swords, is that an internal sort of conflict with oneself? Is that what it's indicating?
Well, you've got the mixture of earth and water. Now, Capricorn is earth and water, that is their sign. They are the opposite to Cancer, who is water and earth. But they have that there, so that's going to be like a little bit of a weak spot at the moment for them. And that weak spot should be, this is talking in accordance to the vibration of the sun at the moment, that weak spot there will ask them to be playing smart. So if you take David and Goliath, for example, he wasn't David wasn't the biggest of people, and Goliath was that Goliath, massive bloke, and he killed him with a slingshot. And because he played smart rather than, he didn't need to physically win, he needed to win with his brains. And I think that's Capricorn. If you do that, then you'll find yourself sitting in a very short,
more of a strategic position.
Yeah, I would say that. And you'd feel a lot more sure within themselves, but not necessarily sure with the outside world. That's how I'm. The end of the week will feel a little bit like that. It'll feel like things came to the surface at the beginning of the week, and through all of this sort of section here, and got resolved by the end of the week as a very satisfactory resolution for the end of the week, because they understand that they're on the longer path. Because above the lovers, between the lovers and the Knight of Pentacles, you've got that crossing point of fire and air. And Capricorn doesn't have a lot of air in them and fire in them. They don't have any earth in them either. But they have a lot, that crossing point there will actually be sucking a lot of that mental activity through to the surface. So you may find that Capricorns, by the end of the week, you'll be concentrating on work. What a surprise for Capricorn. And working and doing things. And Capricorn's a little bit like that. On the physical, on the material side of life, you've got like the Seven of Cups, and it's on a fixed air and fixed water. Does that go hand in hand? I guess it does, in a way. What do you reckon? It's like,
with the choices, and again, that fixed air is going to be, it's going to be causing a lot of mental decision making. If the water is weakened, it's not going to be so much emotional decisions, it's going to be hard logical decisions coming through. And with that death rebirth card on the petal 4 coming in from the universe, it's it looks like a possible choice for a new beginning, and it's very well placed with the Empress as well. But probably coming from more of a logical viewpoint rather than an emotional one.
That's got that spiral as well, in that the flow of the energies like goes in a circle. So the emotions are coming down, the mentals is pushing back up. Whereas on this side here, on their karmic path, it's very much more sort of like a fixed situation. So they've got to bring themselves to make the choices, and that feeds lovely into that.
Well, that's that mind, body, spirit thing, isn't it? It's pulling that all together.
Yeah, it's putting it all together. I think the conversion is going to be the difficult part, and I think they might, on the physical side, they might feel a little bit disappointed, a little bit kind of sort of, I want to do this sort of activity, sort of attitude.
Forgetting that they actually have what they need right in front of them, and they're busy trying to look for other things where it's actually they've got what they need.
Yeah, because that conversion point, you've got fixed water and mutable water there, and that is a little bit thinned at the moment. So seems to work better on the relationship side than it does on the physical side, but it's converting from the inner being to the outer being can be a little bit difficult. And I think it's more of a resignation to the longer plan. I think.
Well, with the Knight of Pentacles, that is a bit of a longer term, outcome. It's not a quick run, is it? It's a more longer term thing. But maybe the Four of Cups is sitting in the throat chakra. Maybe it needs to be expressed openly what those choices are, to be able to materialize them, to get that clear before they set out on that journey with those pentacles.
I'm not so sure, simply because it's like you've got that cardinal earth and fixed water there. So that's like that weak side that I was talking about over there. It's that weak point. Maybe it's a case that they're not expressing it.
That's what I mean. They need to.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, sorry, yeah, okay, right, totally. I'm totally on the same path then. Yeah, totally. And I think the main important, certainly for the Capricorn, is them, basically, that they are the centre of their life with that Lovers card, and you get that fixed air that goes around it with that fire and a little bit of water. So it's all that is going to be activated. All of that around it is going to be activated around there, and I think that they're happy with. I think they're going to be happy with their long-term plan as it's gradually, or their long-term karmic path as it's gradually unfolding in front of them. Yeah, I think they'll be happy with that.
Have you got any final message for them, or is that?
No, I think they've got it. I think they're working through stuff at the moment. They're coming through to that. At the end of in Cancer season, they'll get that little lull before they get that kick off again, which we see in the rhythms in people, and that's sort of like, it's almost like the first boomerang that's come through, just to sort of kind of going, okay, you've got to get in the rhythm, so then you can use that propulsion of your summertime in order to really get through and get those plans in place. So yeah, concentrate on the longer term plan, and I think you'll feel all right. I think, Capricorn. Excellent. So yeah, once you've subscribed and click the bell here, and getting notifications for all the future videos that we're going to be doing on here, we're going to be doing loads as well, because there's something coming up in the Taurus season as well that we were going to do. So we will be doing that on the world reading and stuff like that. Yeah, once you've clicked the bell and gone over to, you can explore all the links in the description below. In the meantime, Capricorn, don't forget, life should be fun. So please do enjoy.